count to 3. When I get to 3, just say what you want to do. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, this is kind of weird. Like, I feel like she's treating me like a toddler, but let's go for it. My name is Jess Massey, and I am the owner and founder of the community-centered productivity company, Hustle Sanely. The funny thing about Hustle Sanely is that I started it on accident, which when people hear that, they're like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, how do you start a company on accident? But I was actually in grad school pursuing a degree in speech language pathology back in 2017 is when I started grad school. And on the side, I started making digital planners, which back in 2018, that's when I started. That's when I made my first ever digital planner. It was kind of like the market was not saturated at all. Like, people were like, wait, so you have a planner, but on your iPad? So it was just kind of an unheard of thing. So it was really, I had a leg up breaking into the digital planning space. So it kind of took off, and it came to a point where I was like, okay, I can either continue on with school, because if any of y'all are in grad school, you know that it is not a small feat. Like, it takes all of your time, all of your energy. And then when you have, you're working your 9 to 5, you're going to practicum or internship, you are trying to show up as a good friend, as a good wife, as a good family member, like all of your roles you're trying to juggle, which that's why I created the planner, because I needed help with managing my time and energy. But it came to a point, I was at a crossroads. I could either, take this fork or that fork in the road. And I chose to drop out of grad school and pursue Hustle Sanely full time. So Hustle Sanely was started in September 2018, and I actually dropped out of school in January 2019. So there was not a whole lot of time in between me starting the company and it taking off and me deciding to, pursue the path that I didn't really know how it was going to work out. I'll never forget, I was in Blue Ridge, Georgia with a girlfriend. We were celebrating my 29th birthday. And it was actually, we had just wrapped up winter break from grad school. And so I actually started classes the week that we were in Blue Ridge. And a lot of my classes, they were online. So I was able to kind of do school while I was on a trip. And the whole way up there, because I live in Florida, so we drove, and it wasn't like a terribly long road trip. And so the whole time I was just like, Carson, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should drop out of school or if I should pursue this planner company. I'm more passionate about the planner company, but being an SLP, it's such a good, safe, stable job. Like, I know exactly what my future will look like. So it just feels like that's the air quote smart thing to do. But I could not stop with the tug on my heart. Like, every night when I would go to bed, I was thinking about Hustle Sanely. Every morning when I woke up, I was thinking about Hustle Sanely and just how I get so much joy helping other people manage their time and their energy well so that they can show up and share their gifts with the world. So the whole car ride up, I was probably driving her absolutely crazy. I was just like, I don't know what to do, pros, cons list, this, that, and the other. We finally got to Blue Ridge, and we were sitting at a winery, Chateau Maitre. I will never, ever forget it. There were rolling hills in front of us. There were cows in front of us. Like, it was very, movie-esque. And I was a few glasses of wine in, and I kept bringing it up over and over, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. She finally grabbed my arm, looked at me, and she was like, Jess, I'm going to count to 3. When I get to 3, just say what you want to do. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, this is kind of weird. Like, I feel like she's treating me like a toddler, but let's go for it. So she counted 1, 2, 3. And I blurted out, I want to drop out of school and pursue Hustle Sanely full time. And in that moment, a light bulb went off, like the glass ceiling was shattered. And I was like, okay, that's what I want to do. Because when you keep something in your mind, it's hard for you to kind of picture it being your reality. But when you start to verbalize it and put action to it, it seems a lot more attainable. So that kind of knocked the fear out of me, if you will. And I remember I picked up my phone, I called my husband, and I was like, hey, and obviously he knew that I was going back and forth, didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was like, hey, we're doing this. Like, I'm leaving school and I'm going to pursue this Hustle Sanely thing. And he was like, cool. Thankfully, he is super supportive. I never have to really like egg him into like, being on board for anything. He's always like, yeah, let's do it. Which I know is a super privileged place to be. And I'm super grateful. But I called him, I called my brother. His name is Joey. And he is kind of the wisdom to my wild in a way. Like, I've always been the one that's like, oh my gosh, like I have this brilliant idea. I have to pursue it. And my brother, he majored in finance, and he's kind of more like feet on the ground while my head's in the clouds. And so he was just like, honestly, I think it's a great idea, because he had seen the products that I'd been creating. He had seen like my income reports and stuff like that. And he was like, Jess, you're in your 20s. It's your last year in your 20s. So he's like, you don't have kids, like go for it. Like, if you're going to go for it, this is the time to do it. And he knows, like, I've bounced around a lot career wise. And this was the first time that he had ever given me the green light. Not like I needed it from him, but it just felt like this was different than anything else that I'd ever pursued. So after I called them, we were celebrating. We finished the bottle of wine, probably got another one, to be honest. And I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. So I came back from that trip with Carson, and I, went online, dropped out of all my classes, did the whole thing, let the dean know all the scary stuff, made a post on Instagram letting, the Hustle Sanely community know, like, hey, if you think that I've been serving you well now, like, I'm leaving school to like go all in with this thing. And I say go all in, but I guess I should be a little bit more transparent. I still kept a part-time job at the same time, one that I'd already had in college, just as a little like buffer, I guess, to kind of make sure like, okay, is this going to pan out? Am I going to be able to be motivated and disciplined enough to carry this thing out? So I kept that part-time job until October of 2019. So January 2019, from January 2019 until October 2019, I was kind of bouncing between both jobs. And then in October of 2019, I was like, you know what? Like, we've got to just put everything in, because by that point, Hustle Sanely, what had started off as a digital planner company on Etsy, that's how I started. I opened an Etsy shop, had some digital planners. Like, that was kind of where I thought we were going and what I thought we were doing. But we've morphed into a podcast. We have group coaching programs. We have a paper planner line at this point. I have courses. So it kind of grew into this massive, what I call productivity company, that I just never in my wildest dreams thought would ever be a thing. And that's the most special part to me about my story. I wasn't searching for something. I was just showing up every day and serving, using my gifts, doing what I love, trying to figure out how I could help other people. And I feel like Hustle Sanely kind of found me, which I know is kind of cheesy to say, but every morph that we've made, everything that we've integrated into our business model and what we're going after, it's always been community centered. And it's always been just led by the people who support my work and support what I do. And I think that's really what sets us apart as a planner company, is that we are driven by the people who buy our planners. Like, I always, when we're creating our new products, like, I'm on Instagram and, we're doing polls. I have a monthly membership, and the girls in there are helping me choose layouts for our planners and all kinds of stuff like that. So it's just, I really do feel like, because I wasn't like, with this tunnel vision, like, oh my gosh, I have to find like my thing. I was just living my life, sharing my gifts. And I feel like my thing kind of found me. So that's how Hustle Sanely came to be. And it's so wild to think that we're only 3 years in, because I feel like we've done so much. And just like I said, it's just beyond what I ever could have dreamed for it to be. So being only 3 years in, I'm just like, okay, we're just getting started. Like, where are we going next? Where are we heading? Like, I want to write books. I want to have in-person workshops. Like, just the sky is the limit. And it's so humbling, because when I was in school for speech language pathology, which, by the way, is such a credible, like, career path. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It just didn't really suit me as a person. I was choosing that path for the wrong reasons. I was choosing that path because I wanted something safe and something stable. I wasn't incredibly passionate about what I was doing necessarily. And so it's really rad to see that I kind of broke through that fear and just kind of went all in with my dreams, even though I had absolutely no idea what was going to happen. Tip for being sane is work with your energy instead of against it. I feel like so often people, like, we look at these long to-do lists and we're just like, okay, like, where do I dig in? And we just kind of go for low-hanging fruit. And the low-hanging fruit, those are tasks that are like super, like, they don't take a lot of brain power. So, like, answer emails, like answer Instagram comments and DMs. Like, it's stuff that needs to be done, but you can do it at the end of your day, even when you don't have a lot of brain juice left. When in reality, we call it your focus 3 in the House of Sanely community. You want to start with your focus 3, the 3 tasks that you want to give your best time and energy to, so that they get your best time and energy, right? Because they're the tasks that actually matter. They're moving the needle forward, whether it's in your business or on another goal that you're working on in your personal life. So that is my number one tip to being sane, because you're always going to have time to do those little tasks at the end of the day when you don't have a lot of brain power, but you can't do your big, important, needle moving tasks at the end of the day without brain power. You know what I mean? So I feel like people, like I said, they want that low hanging fruit because people love ticking off their little, they're like, done, got it, good. They just want to cross off as many as possible at the beginning of the day. And I'm like, cool. But like, which of those are actually like moving the needle though? Oh, none of them? Okay. So that's where we want to dig in.
Oh, I'm like, my brain exploded, but you just like reframe my whole mindset of like, oh, those things that I'm like just avoiding. Like, no, we'll do that at the end of the day. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My goal then is to, when we get off this, I'm going to look back at my list.
Yes.
You know, I have a big old dirty list. All right. You rock. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, Happies, we are out. Remember to follow @HappyBox and @WaxCabin on Instagram. Watch our stories for podcasts and product updates. If you need business or life advice, email us at thetotallyhappypodcast@gmail.com. That is thetotallyhappypodcast@gmail.com, or call the THP line and leave a voicemail at 973-520-7533. Like and subscribe to our pod, and for fuck's sake, get to work.